I started out with nothing. Just a kid from the streets with nothing to lose. Then I met Julius, and everything changed.
Welcome to the 3rd Street Saints.
Once I joined the 3rd Street Saints, everything started going my way. I'd run some jobs, get paid, and Lady Luck was on my side. Now, I have the women, the clothes, the rides, but it's not enough. I want more. I want it all.
Come on.
That's the great thing about this city. It's there for the taking, if you've got what it takes.
Welcome to Saints Row. Originating from a more gritty setting, this series was long considered to be a main competitor to the Grand Theft Auto series, especially its first 2 games due to their high quality for the time they were made in. While the 3rd and 4th game decided to branch off and stand out through absurdity and chaos. We don't talk about Ages of Mayhem, just keep that on the wraps. However, what we will be talking about is Get Out of Hell and its ending. Why? Because it leads into something dark, something disturbing, and something so fucking cringe. Anyways, Johnny Gat beats up the devil and then God's just like, you're right mate, you want to wish for slapping the devil on the cock or something, yeah, you just get whatever you want. Well, there's a bunch of wishes Johnny Gat can do, but canonically he decides to wish for the Urk to come back in exchange for a reboot. Johnny Gat's a beast mode detective and the other Saints are policemen. What Johnny didn't realise is that he'd also be rebooting the Saints at a New Earth as well, causing possibly the worst game of this year yet, the Saints Row Reboot. To describe it as nicely as possible, the Saints Row Reboot is a shallow and unfinished cash grab with no real charm or personality to it. From its story to its gameplay, the Saints Row Reboot shows you just what happens when you decide to create a game with all the politically correct restrictions of creative freedom, combined with the urge to make some of that sweet, sweet dough in an easy way. I'm going to go into detail about each and every gripe and criticism I have with this game as the video goes on, but let's just start with the basics, the gameplay. Right out the gate, let me just tell you, this game feels like it dropped 7 years ago, and yet still can't keep up with games that dropped 7 years ago. The formula is outdated and bland. This game feels like they just copy-pasted over Saints Row 3, but somehow made it worse. As much slack as Saints Row 4 and Get Out of Hell got, they at least recognised that the combat formula needed a completely new and different approach, rather than just sticking with the simplicity of Saints Row 1, 2 and the 3rd. So why can a game, a modern game at that, play like a relic dug up from the past? The special abilities and perks don't say at the gameplay either, as they're all just so boring and bland. Why would I bother boosting my melee damage when I can just become invincible for a short time or call for backup? Why is the ability to dual wield weapons locked behind a perk and not something you can just do naturally? There's just so many things wrong with the combat gameplay that take up at least 10 minutes, so let's move on to the vehicles. They're fine, I guess. Just, you know, a bit flowy. Just kidding, the driving sucks ass. Vehicles don't feel fast, special abilities are a chore to unlock, and bikes steer like I'm on ketamine, and the variety is bland and uninteresting, unless you actively hunt for the rare vehicles, such as the most powerful creature in all of creation, time, and space, the Gremlin. Nevertheless, the gameplay overall is just a sad bore. I got so sick of doing the same shit over and over again very quickly. Missions that encourage the combat and vehicle game just devolve into go here, kill bad guys, go here next, but also kill bad guys, go home, kill last remaining bad guys, mission ends. And this is repeated multiple times too, especially in the story mode and side missions. Overall, the gameplay is, you know, mediocre and damn near bad for a game on this scale. Now, let's just jump into our next topic of discussion, customization. One of the stronger points of the game, customization is very in-depth. Make your own character pretty much anywhere in the game, change your gun's appearance and livery, or even change it into another gun entirely. The catalogue of clothing and outfits unlocked throughout the game, I could go on. but sadly, these good points are also flawed. Making your bus anywhere is fine when it doesn't tank my FPS because how much shit is loading in. Guns will just sometimes reset and ignore any and all customizations you added to them. And clothing in stores is scattered throughout the map, which makes finding the outfit you're looking for an absolute chore. Hey, nice rhyme. Vehicle customization is great though. Fantastic even. I love this game's customization. It's one of the few traits that stayed true to its presentation in trailers. So, gold star from me. But alas, now we move on to the most dreaded topic of today's video. The Saints Row story mode. Oh, good fucking lord.
I don't have to love it. I have to pay my student loans.
I'm in.
Oh, don't give me that look. Rent's expensive.
Is this gonna be a problem?
Oh,
I mean, per the
my
roommate
God.
code, I'm gonna have to fold the laundry for 2 weeks, but beyond that, I'm golden. What are they moving?
Antiquities.
I can't believe I'm saying this right now, but how did you fumble the story narrative bag so hard that Life is Strange 2, one of the most cringeworthy, poorly written games of all time, was more engaging than this game's story? This isn't an exaggeration, by the way. No, this game's story is littered in cringy dialogue and characters that make me wish Epic Games gave my 50 quid back. And Epic Games are like, nope, you're keeping that pile of shit. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. As for the characters, let's introduce them. Eli is the big brain boy or the beat it chick meme guy. Nina is the car lady who gets angry every 5 seconds for some reason. And Kevin is the Johnny Gat replacement, if Johnny Gat was ordered from Wish. An unfunny and cringeworthy wannabe whose only punchlines are waffle makers and pointing on a shirt, which you will get very sick of as the game goes on. Later on though, you'll meet the Nawale, I think that's how you say his name. He's the closest we ever got to a true Saints Row character until, for some reason, they just butcher him at the end. For some unknown reason, they made him obsessed with the boss's friends and just forced them into a weird sitcom for some reason. Then he just fucking dies and that's it for him. He's like the representation of the older Saints Row games, but he's constantly shat on and ruined in the writing. Now, it's hard to bear at times. One of the villains, Sergio, who leads the Los Panteros, he just appears in 2 cutscenes and then dies. The idols are just kind of gone for some reason. Like, there's no real set leader antagonist for them to follow, so they just kind of exist, I guess. And Marshall's just still around, but under a new leader with lesser attention. So, in short, the game does not feel rewarding. Like, there's no progress made. Sure, you have a good mission here and there, prior and followed with about 4 more bad ones. But you're probably wondering, why haven't I mentioned the businesses yet? You know, the side hustles? That's because my game was so bugged to hell and back that I literally could not progress onto the next criminal adventures. So if we're going by the footage I've seen, they're one of the game's stronger points, albeit tedious. But if you're wondering what would happen if you got 100% of this awful game done, well, let me just show you a glimpse of what would happen. What are you rewarded for all your time and patience?
Hey, we've seen a lot lately.
Done a lot lately.
Hard to believe there's much of anything left to do.
If you see a faded sign at the side
Oh
of the
no.
road that says
Are they doing
15
karaoke?
miles to the
Love Shack! Love Shack, yeah.
I'm heading down the Atlanta highway.
Yeah, let's just move on to bugs. Let me just save you from this shit. To say this game is even close to finished would be complimenting it. This game feels like an early access build that was pushed out too early. The city is dead and lifeless in a glitch I've named the Silent Hill bug. Cars or people won't spawn unless they manually spawn in locations by default, meaning that missions such as insurance fraud are downright impossible because there's no way to earn points or progress without spending 40 minutes on it. Sometimes the world just didn't bother to spawn at times, leaving me stuck while the game struggled to loading assets and basic functions. I even softlocked my game because I wanted to customize a fucking bus. Why give me a customization option now to softlock my game? That just seems like such an amateur mistake. Out of all the bugs though, the sound ones are definitely the most consistent and annoying. Sometimes dialogue would take longer than it's supposed to for it to be spoken. Sounds were delayed or just didn't bother playing. Gunshots were delayed too. It's a mess. Friends and allies just don't bother getting your carbon animation. They'd rather just teleport for some reason. And there's crashes, physics bugs, helicopter camera bugs, and just so much more. Saints Row should not have been released in this state, and it's absolutely unacceptable to make a player struggle to progress in your game because of how unpolished it is. With all this in mind, let's just move on to my final verdict, as I really do not like talking about this game. It's such a disappointment. In the words of my girlfriend Choco, Saints Row is bad. Like, unbearably bad. Unrewarding gameplay, cringy and unengaging story, bug to hell and back, and overall a terrible excuse for a Saints Row game. Actually no, I take that back. A terrible excuse for a modern game in general. This game didn't come out 7 years ago. This is this year, last month. Everything feels so out of touch and outdated, especially the controls and the bugs. They're the sort of shit you'd find in Fallout 4 onwards because of Bethesda's signature jank on day one releases. But this is over a month after the game dropped now, and the game has not been patched nor updated since. What's worse is that Deep Silver seem to be doing this exact same formula with the upcoming Dead Island 2 game, letting politically correct decisions and the fear of offending someone limit their creativity and freedom when letting politically correct decisions and the fear of offending someone limit their creativity and freedom with fiction. So I leave you with some advice. Don't buy any Deep Silver's products for a while. Instead of Saints Row the Reboot, go buy Saints Row 1 or 2. Instead of Dead Island 2, go invest in Dying Light 1 or 2. A simple alternative is, it's clear that the modern Deep Silver team could care less about the product they are releasing, and rather the cash money they gain from it. I mean, they paid off a lot of creators to gas up Saints Row the Reboot, so that should just really say a lot about how good it is.